What's going on, everybody? It is Triple Crown 24 back today with PSA submission reveal number, oh boy, I think this is number 6, it might be number 7, but it's a PSA submission reveal nonetheless. Not too many cards today. I only have 7 to show off, 6 of which got slabbed, 1 did not. The one that did not is kind of interesting, and the submission overall is very interesting, so I'll talk about that. It kind of pertains to Slabgate, so hopefully you'll enjoy it today. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first couple here are all Miguel Cabrera slabs for my Miggy Master set registry, something I haven't been tackling too much lately. I'll do a separate video covering these at some point. I should have 2 more episodes of that will go up within the next couple of weeks or even through the summer, but have not been hitting this as hard lately. But this is the 2013 Ginter in a 10. 2018 Ginter in a 10, so went 2 for 2 on the Ginters, which are usually pretty easy, I would say, for grading compared to some of the various sets out there. Obviously, there's no guarantees in the hobby, and you're not guaranteed to get a 10 on a Ginter, but I would say that they're one of the lesser condition-sensitive cards that I've come across in my grading experience, as limited as it may be. And then I did get 1/9, don't really mind it too much. I'm not sure exactly what would be wrong on this card, maybe centering or something, but it is the 2012 Topps Archives 3D Miguel Cabrera. And I sent this one in regardless just because I really like the frosted edges that PSA puts around some of these smaller cards that are not standard size. So I thought that would look pretty cool, and it does, but they put that little baggie in there that sometimes they use, and I was like, oh man, you gotta be kidding me. So if it didn't have the baggie in it, I think it'd look a little bit better, but nonetheless, it still looks pretty cool with the frosted edges on it. So happy to get that back in. I actually have to enter that into my database. Then I have some non-Cabrera stuff. So these are ones that I will be moving to kind of help fund my trip to the National or to trade for more Cabreras. Just one of the two will work for me, but this is a Trout 2016 Bowman's Best, the 96 style Bowman's Best. And this is a Gem Mint 10. So Trout stuff, I've found people will buy Trout stuff like crazy, and they'll trade for Trout stuff like crazy. So really, I will always jump on the opportunity to get his stuff slabbed up, even sometimes if we'll come back into 9 like this one. I'm not quite sure what went wrong with this one. This submission was kind of tough on the grades again, I would say. I've run into that a couple of times lately, but this one got a Mint 9. So that's still something that I will be able to trade, hopefully. I know that people just really like Trout stuff, so sometimes I'll pull a few aside to get slabbed up, and if not, I'll hang on to them for my own collection. And this one was probably the highlight, I would say, of the entire submission for me. Very stoked on this one. It is a 2012 Heritage Miners team logo version of Christian Yelich with the Jupiter Hammerheads, which I believe is a single A affiliate. I don't know if it's regular A, short season, high A, whatever it is for the Marlins, but nonetheless, there it is. So minor league card of Yelich, who continues to impress this season on his way to potentially another MVP, unless Cody Bellinger or Josh Bell have something to say about that. But just a really nice looking card on the 63 style Topps card. And this is a Pop 2. So this is one that I will be moving. I don't really have too much Yelich stuff, and I don't really plan on PCing him right away. I would like to pick up one of his Dynasty autographs at some point, but in terms of slabs, Yelich isn't a guy that I necessarily would be looking for. So that's going to be one to kind of help with my national funds. There is one more card in this submission. It's the one that did not get slabbed, and it kind of goes into the Slabgate discussion. Very interesting one here. 68 Topps Roberto Clemente, and I bought this from a dealer who I've had a great history with. Never have gotten any cards from him that I sent in to get graded that came back this way, but this is the first time it's happened. So you can see I got minimum size required. So when they put that on there, it doesn't necessarily mean it's been altered. It doesn't necessarily mean it's been trimmed, because they have different codes for that, where they will say this is trimmed or there's evidence of trimming. So that means it could be, but it's not necessarily a guarantee and like a for sure thing. So What I did notice on this submission is that this card was one of 14 that got sent in that got minimum size. And most of them were vintage. There were a couple of moderns, like 190s card in there as well, but for the most part, it was vintage. And our submission, this one, I would say, is pretty much around average of the number of vintage submissions that was part of the group. And usually we get maybe 1 or 2 minimum size requirements. It's not all that common. A lot of the people get the vintage stuff slabbed in low grades just to have in their collections. And I was just trying to get this slabbed for my collection, but fortunately they said it was not the right size. So what I think might have happened, given that there were 14 of them compared to 1 or 2 that we normally have with the same submission size and the same sample size as normal, is that PSA is being a little bit more careful of what they're doing. So this is an encouraging sign. Do I think that this is trimmed, or do I think that it's altered in some way? I don't think so. Just based on the corners and the edges of the card, it does not appear that way. I looked over this thing for a good 15 minutes, I want to say, and I asked for opinions of the people who were in the store at the time when I made this purchase. And they thought it looked really good as well, some unbiased third-party people. So I went ahead and bought it, and I will keep it raw in my collection for now, but I might send this back in. If it comes back minimum size again, then that might be a sign that it is indeed altered. I don't know for sure on these things. I'm not going to claim to be an expert, but just an interesting little tidbit there. I thought it was interesting that it looks like PSA might be responding finally to the little Slabgate controversy with that. So that will wrap up my submission today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. I have another submission that should be back to me by the time that you see this video. I don't know exactly when I'll upload it, but it's coming eventually here, so stay tuned for that. But until next time, have a good one.